So there's some takeaways I grabbed from being at this conference, and I got my top 10 list here that actually has 11 items on it that I wanted to share with you right now. And one is that volumetric scanning is the next big thing, and it will be everywhere on everyone's phone. I think some people probably have played around with it before on your phone. If you haven't, there's some apps out there that allow you to do it. They're not awesome yet, but we need these kinds of things because if we're going to build a digital twin of our world and objects around us, we need to be able to scan them. And I worry as a business owner that in our business we have over 2,000 products that we sell online. How would we possibly make 3D objects of every one of them? Well, there's some technology now coming out that's going to allow us to do that more in an automated way. And then there's artificial intelligence that can start doing some of it for us because AI is getting pretty smart. It can take images from all around the net, make a 3D model of basically anything and do it through voice command. Or if it knows, once we have next iteration of this, it knows we have an online store, it knows we need 3D scans of everything, so it can either prompt us or actually do it itself and get them all up there. Once you have all these 3D models, we'll have an internet of 3D objects. So now when you go to Google and you type, Star Wars, you can click on images, and then it'll just show you millions of images that relate to that search term. Well, that's the case with 3D objects, and there'll be just as many or more 3D objects available that you can click on, grab, drop into a virtual world, store them on your phone. We need this seamless use of 3D objects in 2D and 3D applications, which is starting to come into play. So we have all these 3D objects. So you got the picture of this guy. He's got a chair on his smartphone. He's going shopping for his office. So he's got a digital model of his office there, and he's got a 3D object of the chair that he wants to buy, and he's putting it in the office saying, yep, it's going to look really great right there. And then maybe he wants to go and do some more shopping. So he's doing online shopping. It might be a 2D image, might be a 3D object. He says, yes, I'm going to buy that. That gets added to his shopping cart. He can go into his 3D model. He could put it in there and say, yep, looks great. And then just hit order. And no matter which store these are from, they get ordered, the right color, the right size, everything gets shipped to you, with utter convenience. So this is an area of like startup companies kind of trying to solve these kinds of issues right now. Because this is the way everything's going, there's going to be pressure for businesses to go 3D. And my biggest worry was, how do we go 3D, like I mentioned? But if we do items 1, 2, 3, 4, then we've kind of solved that, and it'll be done a lot easier than I had thought. But remember back when the internet was brand new and most companies did not have a website, then most did. And there's still companies now that have either no website or rudimentary ones, while others are much more advanced. But the wave will continue. That scramble for virtual real estate is going to continue. Right now, it's like people building spaces, so I can just go in there and rent a space, or rather than build my own, because if I'm not a world builder, it's going to be harder for me to get a space like that. Big brands buying virtual worlds. So an example would be Nike building their own virtual world, so I can go in there and I can play a whole bunch of games, different sports games. I can buy virtual shoes and Nike apparel for my avatar. But then if I really like it, I can actually purchase it in the real world and then it gets shipped to my house. So lots of big brands buying up things, and fashion is huge. Work events transitioning to the metaverse spaces. So the reason why Facebook transformed into Meta is because they want all of us to go from that 2D Facebook experience to like a 3D version of that, and kind of like leave Facebook would be more like your catalog of friends, and then this Meta and their Horizons area, you can go in and actually interact in 3D with all your friends and family, your work colleagues, and all the big companies are working in here. Microsoft, you probably use Microsoft Teams or something similar, right? So that in this year, they're introducing several things: cartoon avatars, 3D workspaces, so you can put it on. And Microsoft's got Mesh, which is their kind of metaverse space. And then new kinds of jobs. I could probably do an entire video on what kinds of jobs are going to be around there, but I mentioned startup companies. There were probably about 150 startup companies at the conference, in all different areas. So from 3D object development all the way to new, technology like these AR glasses. And the new kinds of jobs being that, once you're building this metaverse, it's an entire new world. So everything needs to be constructed. So it's sound and audio and physical spaces or digital spaces. So lots of new jobs. Cryptocurrency. If you own cryptocurrency, you're probably not very happy right now because there's a massive crash that just happened. But the cryptocurrency is vital for the virtual economy in that it allows us to do financial transactions in a digital space in a secure way. And I said that there were 11 items on my top 10 list here, and that is because NFTs is on here. This is something that was also a hype over the last 6 months or so. People spending millions of dollars for the rights to a digital object, like a piece of art or something. But NFTs, so non-fungible tokens, is what that stands for. And this is like will allow all of us to own pieces of the internet. If we create something and put it in the digital world, we created it, we own it. So we can then rent it, sell it, do things with it, like as if you were like a deed to your home, you could sell your home. But in this case, if you created, let's say, a piece of art or a piece of music, you can allow people to use it, but every time they use it for commercial reasons, the NFT will always direct back to you what you're owed, depending on what the contract is set up to be. So those NFTs are a game changer for what the internet looks like, because right now we don't own any of the internet, really. You can own your domain name, and that's about it. But in the future, you'll be able to own your own 3D spaces and lots of other assets that will be in the metaverse. Volumetric capture. This is a silly little video, but I thought it was fun. So it's getting better.
And if you want to stand in there.
So this is a series of 12 cameras that are around to capture whatever's in the middle.
All right, and we are recording.
So there's me.
Go crazy.
And you can move here, so it captures it all in 3 dimensions.
And
I made a little music video. Now that I got my 3D objects, I can add music and use it. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, the idea there is that these cameras that are all around the object in the center can capture it in 3 dimensions, whether it's moving or not, make a 3D image of it. And you can see the resolution for my image here is fairly low, but they were keeping it low for the conference because they're basically scanning every single person who walked through there. And that's a way that I could make a avatar of myself that acts and moves exactly like me, and I could use it in a 3D virtual world.